All right. I have not done a YouTube live before, but I do know how to be a fearless singer. So that's what I want to tell you right now. So let's jump into this without wasting any more time. First of all, I'm Mike Goodrich, in case you don't know me. Been a vocal coach in Los Angeles for 32 years and counting. And yeah, during that time, I've worked with normal people like myself, as well as big time celebrities, recording artists, movie companies, movie stars, TV stars, record companies, all kinds of stuff. But again, who cares, right? None of that should actually matter. What matters is if what I say actually helps you, not anything else. And so that's why you're here. So hopefully what I say will help you. So let's jump into this whole thing. What is a fearless singer? To me, it's just that. A fearless singer is a singer who can sing dangerously. What do I mean by singing dangerously? Well, from a technical, emotional, and mental place, they can walk right up to the edge and not fall off. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to reach over and grab my phone. Let's pretend this is a cliff. So, we'll make it like this. So, safe singing, right, is back here somewhere. That's real safe. Dangerous singing and fearless singing is walking up to the edge, walking right along the edge, and not falling off. Not falling off in any way, not falling off from a technical standpoint, which is number one of the three things, the three components that create and make a fearless singer. Number two is your mindset. Mindset is actually first. That is absolutely number one. But most people don't want to talk about mindset. They just kind of want, give me the high notes. So, which is fine, right? But I've seen so many times you really can't get the high notes unless you have the right mindset for the high notes. The third is performance. And basically, what I teach is the MTP formula, which is mindset, technique, and performance. One without the other two is not that great. Two without the other one, not that great. All three, pretty great. I will make a very bold statement that I don't see anybody really reaching their vocal potential unless they have all three. Doesn't mean you can't be great, doesn't mean you can't be good, have a nice career. But if you're really missing one of those components, you're not going to have the career you could have. You're not going to be the voice you could be. I think the whole voice thing on the TV show, I think that's a misconception. I think people begin to think that it's all about the voice, and it's not all about the voice. Even the people who turn around are not turning around just because of the voice. They can feel an energy. They can feel a charisma without even looking. And, those travel through speakers of a car, through speakers of a radio, through speakers of she who shall not be named, because if I mention her name, she'll start talking. And you know who I'm talking about. It has to do with Amazon. That's an energy, and that can be felt. So what you really, really want to have is all three of these things. And you want to, for lack of a better word, you want to push them right to the edge, right? So technically, if you're singing safely, not that much fun. Now, when we're learning certain things, we have to be safe. We really should, when we're learning technique, we have to err on the side of caution. I'm talking about where you want to get, right? Not necessarily where you are now, but where you want to be. And, obviously sometimes there's a gap, you're here, you want to be here. There is a line in between those two things. It's like, what is on this line that is going to get me from here to here, right? If you draw two boxes, I just learned this from a great coach. And I would give him credit if I could remember his name. But I saw an interview on YouTube with him, and he coached the Yankees. He coached Derek Jeter. He coached a number of people. Probably if you just Google that, you'll find out who he is, but brilliant guy. And he takes a piece of paper, he draws a box, another box, and a line between. And it's like, what's on that line? Because that is your roadmap to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And all you have to do is figure out what's on that line. And for me, with singing, MTP formula, mindset, technique, and performance are on that line. Once you master or at least get a pretty good handle on your mindset as a singer, your technique as a singer, and your performance chops as a singer, you're kind of well on your way. And like I say, one without the other, two without the other, not really going to happen. When you look at all the greats, the people that you admire, the people that you love, the people that you emulate, they probably have a relatively decent handle on all three. Now, granted, and one could argue, and I know this to be true. One could argue that people get really nervous once in a while before they go on stage. So you might say, well, their mindset must not really be that great if they're getting all nervous. True, but as good as they are, what if their mindset was solid? My contention is that they could be even better. And you might say, well, what about this singer? I love this singer's technique. Isn't that technically great? And I'm thinking, well, yeah, it's true. But if there are any technical limitations, if they were improved, this person might even be better, right? And performance chops. Well, he doesn't even look at the audience or talk to the audience. Well, if he did, maybe that would be a little bit better. So we can always play devil's advocate and prove a point wrong based on what we already believe. My suggestion to you, though, is if you do that, you might want to examine the first one on the list, which is mindset, because it's human nature to kind of reject new ideas and to assess them based on what we already know. So if you're looking at the idea of, a mindset for singing, what could that possibly have to do with singing? I just want high notes. I'm sure if I had a great technique, I wouldn't be nervous. I'd be more confident. That would take care of everything. Surely that would take care of everything. So if you're in that camp, honestly, I'm going to be really blatant and bold and blunt. You probably need the mindset because that's not a camp to be in, because I've known plenty of people with phenomenal technique that are terrified to go on stage or won't do what they should do as far as going out for an audition, auditioning for this, putting in for that, whatever. Because of the wiring, because of their subconscious wiring, how they see themselves. You cannot believe how many fantastic singers I've worked with that don't know how good they are. They will literally bring in a recording of somebody and say, I want to sound like this person. And I will look at them straight on and say, you're already better than that person. Why don't they see it? Why don't they see themselves through my eyes? Why can't they see that they're that good? It's their mindset. It's the way they see themselves. When we see ourselves a certain way, we see our voice a certain way, we are now setting a lid or a glass ceiling on what we're going to be able to experience with our voice. Now, that's just the truth, whether we know it or not, right? So if you're having significant difficulties with your voice that you've been having challenges getting over for a while, you might also look at how you're looking at yourself and perceiving your voice. It's really important because I'll tell you, there are scientifically validated techniques for mental rehearsal and visualization that are not woo-woo. They've never been woo-woo, but people kind of put them in the woo-woo camp because there was no scientific validation, right? Now there actually is. A guy named Joe Dispenza does a tremendous amount of testing. And he's definitely one that I follow in this because I want to know about this stuff. I want to be able to function at my highest in all levels. And I certainly want to function at my highest with singing. And I want to sing at the pro level, even if I'm not doing this anymore professionally. I want to sing at the pro level for myself, right? So if you want to sing at the pro level for any reason, for yourself, or because you're doing it professionally, then if you don't take the mindset aspect of this, how you set your mind, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about your voice, what you believe is possible for yourself, all those things, if you don't take that seriously, you could be missing some very important key factors in your development as a singer and as your development as a professional career. So I really suggest that. And that's why I always put mindset first. even though a lot of people don't want to put it first. Like I say, they're like, give me the high notes. I just want the high notes. It's like the old guy working out. It's like the person working out, right? Just give me the muscles. I don't want to think about it. But if you add to your technique rituals and regimes, if you add mental rehearsal to those, then you will exponentially grow your voice. And that's science as well. They've done a lot of tests, countless tests and clinical trials, experiments to prove that this is so, not necessarily just with singers, with piano players, with basketball players, with athletes, musicians of all types. So it's worked in so many different ways. And certainly it has worked with my students that I can trust that this is pretty much a blanket statement that this will work and help you and expedite your progress. I'll mention right now, before we go any further, that I do have a book called Fearless Singing that you can probably read in about an hour, and it's free, and it comes with great bonuses, and the link is in the description. I'm not sure. Let's see. If anybody has any questions, then please put them in. Let me look up here and see. I'm just trying to, I'm afraid to click anything. I did this a few minutes ago and I didn't have, I had the wrong camera selected. Inadvertently, I did not know that I had to select the other camera. YouTube by default would, anyway. They selected, oddly enough, a camera I don't even own. I don't even know what the camera is, but here you go. But so anyway, grab the book. The link's in the description. Like I say, the bonuses are great. The book is great. You can read it in less than an hour, and it will go into much detail about what I'm talking about now, and it's free. The other one is technique. I want to talk about what I feel is the most important thing a singer can master in their technique after 32 years of doing this. And that is your first bridge. They call it in classical music passaggio. It's that transitional area where you go from your chest voice into something. And what we like to say is your chest voice into your mix. And years ago when I started, it was like we would say chest voice into head voice. And then for the ease of discussion, we decided to call it mix, as I bang my microphone. Because a mix is a mixture of, let's say, resonance, right? But I like to say a mixture of quality, vocal qualities as well. You've got the chest voice quality, very rich. The head voice quality, ooh, right? So what is a mix of those two, right? Is to be able to sing in the higher register and mix in the quality of chest voice so that it sounds rich and robust, or even pull that ooh, pull that heady quality down lower and mix in that heady quality. So we can either mix towards sounding like chest voice or mix towards sounding like head voice, depending on the song, depending on our ability to do that. But once we know where these bridges are and we master that ability to get from our chest voice into our mix, that's like learning how to shift gears and go from first gear to second gear. So many singers have these fantastic voices, but they don't know how to shift gears. They don't know how to shift registers. It would really be like having this great car and only knowing how to drive in first gear and thinking something's wrong with the car. And you're like, you're driving around and you can't get on the freeway. You just can't do it. You can't go anywhere, right? And, drive a few streets, but if you start going fast, the engine starts getting hot and you think, oh my gosh, what's wrong with my car, right? You take it to a mechanic and you say, I don't know what's wrong with this thing. And the guy looks at it and says, well, you shifting gears? And you say, what do you mean? And they say, well, you got gears. You're driving in first gear. You got 5 gears. You push in the clutch, you pull back the lever, boom, now you're in second gear. It buys you another 10, 15, 20 miles an hour before you have to do that again. And you're like, holy cow, I thought there was something wrong with my car. Same thing with the voice, right? I know there's kind of an elementary explanation, but I like to keep things really silly, simple, and understandable. So same thing with a voice, except with a car, you've got miles per hour. You got, 10, 20 miles per hour, boom, shift into second, get you up to about 35, boom, shift into third, get you up to about 40, 50, boom, shift into, and so on, right? With us, though, we're not going fast. Excuse me, we're going higher. So with a tenor or a baritone, or a soprano or a mezzo. They're going to start down in their chest voice. They have a certain number of notes in that register that they can sing easily. And then they're getting to the point where they need to know how to shift or allow. Really, we have to allow, but you have to, the analogy is works. You have to know how to shift or allow yourself to go into the mix, right? In that first bridge. That is the most important bridge. Once you negotiate that and you can manage that, it makes the second bridge, third bridge, fourth bridge, however high you sing, so much easier because it continues to be the same principle all the way up. But if you don't nail the first bridge, as a lot of people don't, you throw off your entire balance of your voice and you limit your potential and you won't get the high notes that you need to get, right? And the reason so many people mess up the first bridge is because the first bridge is one that is low enough and close enough to your chest voice that a lot of really strong singers can just kind of yell through the first bridge in their chest voice. And some can even do it well enough that it doesn't even sound that yelly. But by the time they start getting a little further than their first bridge towards their second, it's all over. They're out of runway. Whereas if they had shifted into their mix, they would have been golden because by the time they get up to their second bridge where they have to shift again, they're in a very relaxed state. The vocal cords are used to making their adjustments. The resonance shifts, boom, and on we go. So I would say that that is the number one most important thing that a singer can work out as their first bridge. The most important tool that they can have to do that are the vowels and the sounds that we make. Those are going to be our key to determining how well we're able to get through our bridge. Because if we take a sound that makes our chords heavy and thick up too high, we're not going to be able to dial in and thin out the voice enough to allow those vocal cords to really do what they're supposed to do. Now, there is so much more to talk about than what I'm able to talk about in this short YouTube live. But grab the book, and like I say, it's free and it comes with bonuses, and it'll explain how the vocal cords work. It'll explain all this stuff. The bonuses will, as well as the book, that I'm not able to go into right now because it's very, very important. It'll make a ton of sense as to why I'm so emphatic about saying the one thing you got to figure out is your first bridge, and the best way to do it is by mastering your vowels and mastering your sounds. So it's so important that I created the Vowel Mastery Formula program, which I'm not trying to sell you. I just told you it's that important, right? So get the book and it'll tell you all about it. Now, the third key component is performance. And this is the one that a lot of people blow off. They don't blow it off on purpose necessarily. It's more of an unconscious thing. But you see a lot of pop singers up there, and they're just working it, and they're closing their eyes or whatever they're doing, and you can tell the lyric doesn't mean much to them. Not the great ones, right? But you can tell they haven't given much thought to the lyrics. As a matter of fact, if you were like I have done and just hear a song and figure, I sort of know it, I kind of know the melody. So what do? You get the lyrics on your phone, right? And you try and sing along with it. So you don't really know the melody that great. You certainly don't know the lyrics. And you've heard the song a few times and you try and sing it. I know you've done it because I've done it. And and I still do it and I know I shouldn't. But anyway, so your chances of succeeding are, like slim and none. What you're probably going to do is just, crap yourself out and say, well, I ain't singing this thing, and you could be wrong because you're not approaching it the right way. Uh, so you have to approach these things the right way. And the number one thing to do when you're wanting to learn a song is to have some concept of the lyrics, like know the words, right? Because when you know the lyrics, all of a sudden now you don't have to think about them, as long as, if you're just playing around and learning it, I'm still pretty emphatic on learning the lyrics because you don't want to give your brain too many assignments. You're thinking about the notes, you're thinking about the lyrics, you're looking at your phone, you got all this stuff going on, right? Well, that's not an ideal situation to sing in if something isn't on automatic pilot. Now, if your voice is fantastic and you don't think about your notes, you don't think about your voice, and it just works like an automatic transmission in a car, then, then that's one less thing to think about. But you're still looking at your phone, trying to figure out the lyrics, trying to remember the melody. So I have a whole thing on how to learn a song and how not to do that in the professional way to learn a song, but that's not the point of this. I want to stay on point with this. The idea is performance. Let's say now that you know the lyrics and you're working on a song and you're going to perform it. Now, I'm going to give you two very important tips that nobody does, hardly, unless they're in musical theater. Very few people actually do these. And if you do, it's going to put you head and shoulders above other singers that don't do this. And those two things are very, very easy. Two words for you: personalization and intention. What do I mean by that? I'm going to use a very easy song. And this is one that I use a lot because it's easy. Everybody knows it and it makes sense. It's the song The Rose, right? Remember The Rose? I believe it has like 3 verses. The first one is, some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you, its only seed. Boom. Okay. So first verse, right? If I'm just singing that, if I'm just singing words and they mean nothing, and I'm just singing it to an audience, and my goal is to sing pretty, I'll get through it. It'll be okay, right? But there's nothing going on in here, right? I'm just going to go, some say love. And it's like, I'm not even thinking about anything, right? Am I thinking about trying to sound pretty, or am I getting the notes, or am I going to remember the words, or how many people are in the audience? I mean, what am I thinking about? But if I have a personalization, which is number one, okay, and I create a scenario, right? If I have a personalization, you might want to create a scenario too. That's kind of a little bonus. So if my personalization was, let's say, okay, based on what this song is about, this song is clearly about, because I've read the lyrics and I've figured out what the song is about. We assume that you have done that. So let me back up. Read through the lyrics, memorize the lyrics, know what the song is about, and know what the general feeling of the song is about. Okay. Then create a personalization, meaning, what are you going to do to make the lyrics of this song personal to you, so that you can share an experience, a personal experience of your own through the lyrics of this song to whoever you are personalizing, whoever you are seeing in front of you. For me, I know what this song is about to me. It's about somebody that's talking about how horrible love is, right? Maybe they're talking to somebody who thinks love is just awful, awful, awful. And you're saying, yeah, well, some say this and some say that and this, some say this, but I say this. So here's another perspective I'm going to offer you. So my personalization for this song would be my son, because and creating the scenario that it's his first uh, love that ended, like a girlfriend or something like that, right? So his girlfriend broke up with him, totally depressed. And all of a sudden you say, okay, so if I'm in conversation with my son and I am saying these words to my son, right? Makes things totally different, because then now I'm singing to him, and I'm not just saying, some say love it is, and I'm just singing the song to an arbitrary whatever audience, right? Now all of a sudden it's very personal. I'm speaking to him, and he's sitting and he's upset and he's crying, and I'm saying, some say love, it is a river. All of a sudden, everything just changes. And I'm not even doing that on purpose. It's just different. It's more intimate, because you're actually communicating with somebody for a reason, which is number two, and that's the intention. What's my intention with this? To comfort him. That would be my intention. So I know what the song's about. I've created a scenario to make it personal to me, right? To share my experience with a personal person that I'm seeing in front of me, having an actual dialogue and conversation with a specific intention, a reason why I'm saying these lyrics, these words, having this conversation to this person. Does that make sense? So that's the three things that you need and must have if you want to be a fearless singer and sing dangerously and really, really reach your potential. You've got to have the right mindset, you've got to have the right technique, and you have to have the performance chops. And I've just given you a whole bunch of tips on how to do that. And I hope you enjoyed it. So there you go. I think this is streaming. I think it's okay. I think all is well. So let me just say thanks so much for watching. I'm going to do more of these. Grab my Fearless Singing book. Like I say, it's totally free. The link is in the description. It's got tons of bonuses that come with it. You can read it in probably less than an hour, and it's going to give you so much great information. Like I said, it's free. So anyway, I'm going to do more of these. I have a blast doing them, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you all very, very soon. Watch whatever recommended videos are up here. I guarantee they're probably pretty good. Of course, I'm a little biased. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.